Oh, good grief. Have you ever bought something at a hardware store and got home and you couldn't find it, only to realize you left it in the shopping cart, and somehow you unloaded everything else out of the shopping cart except the pliers that you had up on top or something? I had some like this and I could not find them. And hey, I'll use these instead. The other ones were blue handled ones. I looked high and low in the house, and I think that's what happened. But anyways, okay, see, now I'm gonna take this and bend it straight again, because I know I'm gonna have to do that pretty much, you know. Okay, I'm not gonna go any further than that. I'm gonna leave it like that. Good. At least that didn't snap off. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that until I get this in here, and that looks pretty good. If anything, I'm just looking at this closer to see if I can't get it any further. Yeah, down here at the bottom still, it's just slightly off, cattywampus. See, I walk the chisel like that, and then you can just take off just a hair at a time. That's the one good thing about this long handle, because it gives me a lot of torque to push on it. I used to have one like this, a little shorter, and I liked it because I could hold on to it easier as I was tapping. This one's a little bit harder to do that, but I can see that I can push on it more with this handle. Okay, I'm just putting it upside down on here like that, and that's looking mighty nice. Now I can just take my felt tip pin, let's say, and I know this top one is not that far off from where I see the other hole. But hey, I'll figure out something. And lots of times I'll just take my scratch awl and I'll just hold this on there and kind of angle it, okay, and start me a new hole. Like that. And I used to then screw it in, but I don't like doing that now. I just take my drill with a tiny bit on there and drill it. I'm going at a slight angle so I don't hit into the other hole. And if I had some toothpicks or something, I could kind of tap them in there in the other, but because I was using the long screws, they should go in right where I need them, right to where I need them. Okay. There's no way I would want to use just small little short screws, because the door jamb, just the door jamb would not really hold this very well, you know, and because this is the garage door, I want these kind of snug in there. Okay, I wonder if I got my other drill in the garage. See if I find it. Oh. Just happen to have it And I like to tighten it up by hand all the way and not use the drill. Just that last little bit, because sometimes you could spin your screws out. Now see, I moved it over enough. There's wood right there, and I don't know if I'm going to have to notch that out or not. I could take my my chisel and notch that, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to keep the camera going, and we're going to close this door and see how we're looking. I know the door's going to push in tighter now, right? See, I could have almost gone a little bit more, but I've gone quite a bit. Okay, and this is going. I'm just trying to. Okay, yeah, it's going all the way. Okay, there. Look at that. And see, this latch is now pushed in tighter. And if I wanted to really go a little bit tighter, I would just take my pliers or my screwdriver. I would take a standard screwdriver, just like I showed you before. And I would get in there like this and bend that little tab out. But I'm not going to do that, because I'm liking it right where it's at. And the other thing I've realized is this smoke alarm, or smoke weather stripping, it's not really smoke weather stripping, it's just regular rubber weather stripping. It fits in a little groove in the door. And this is kind of old stuff. And and it's gotten all kind of beat up down here. See this? Look at that. And I'm thinking maybe I should go the extra mile and replace that eventually, soon. Next time I'm at the hardware store, I can get some of this. And I've got a short piece that I could use for the top that's brand new. So I get 2 new pieces, and that stuff is a little bit fatter, and it's going to be a little bit springier, because this stuff here is 17 years old. And with that being the case, this door is going to fit up that much more tight. Do you see what I mean? If I adjust this more now and push it in further, then when I get ready to replace that weather stripping, then it's going to be out too far. And see, this is still going, and with the side latch, with this latch, see how it comes at an angle. You only have from there to there going into the strike plate. Okay, and even though the strike plate, you see when I move the strike plate over, see that wood there? I don't really have to notch that out, because the latch fits right in between from here to there. I know it's not hitting that. If it was hitting that, I could take that out with my chisel. Okay, but it's not. It's latching. I can tell it's latching, and this is going good. This is locking, and all that. Okay, so that's a lot better, and I'm gonna call that good. But there's a couple more things I want to say before I end this video. Now remember I said when I push the door that way a little bit, maybe the deadbolt, see this deadbolt, you really don't have any adjustment on the deadbolt, but because this is pushed in further, okay, it's pushing the door in further, this still fits, because there's still enough clearance that fits in here. But if I pushed it over any further, and if it started rubbing, remember before it was rubbing on this front side because the door wasn't over far enough. Now that I've adjusted this, and the door is now a good 1/16, almost 1/8 of an inch closer to the weather stripping, that means the deadbolt, instead of hitting right there, is off of this edge by a good 1/16 to almost an 1/8, and it's just barely missing this side over here. Now, if it was rubbing this side, instead of taking this whole thing, moving it over, let's say, I could just ream the edge of there. Remember I said I had a reaming bit? That's what I wanted to show you. I'm not going to need it, but see, that's my reaming bit. It's shaped like a cone. It's got little burrs on there. You put that on your drill and you just run it along the side. And I use that every once in a while. I'll need that. And see, I actually saw another one. See, here's another one that I used to use. I don't really like using this one. I'll use it now and again. You can see that I've used it, okay? But it's hard to get in there on a sharp corner. This is not a reaming bit. This is something different. That's for something else, drilling holes, and then you just drill the hole yay big, and then you start drilling it more and more and more, and this thing eats it up. Oh man, this thing's expensive. You don't really need that for many things, but when I need it, I got it. But see, if I let's say if I had to take that out and ream it out, see how those little inside corners, I could get just barely with this. In fact, this one, if I reamed it, see, I can just barely get it right there and right on the edges. So I didn't concave this out. And if I wanted to get from, from here down, I would barely be able to do it with this, but I've used this so much, it's dull from here to there now. And see, I used to have another one like this that went just to a point. And I went to 3 different hardware stores and I couldn't find one. I'm like, what? So I use that one. Okay, so that was the other thing I was going to tell you on that. And I know this is locking all the way, and I made a video a while ago, and I fixed this because on the Deadbolt I was locking it, and I realized it wasn't going over all the way. It was only going like that far. For 17 years before we bought the house, this house was almost 18 years old. And for the entire time, this top deadbolt, they were locking it and like that, okay? Well, let me tell you, if you have it like that, just like that, let's say, okay? It's not locking it, watch, see? I can do this all day long. And this was hitting wood in there, and it wasn't engaging all the way. You gotta have this deadbolt out far enough, and then it clicks right there. So I know this has to go up and down. When I'm locking it, it has to go that far. You see? If it was going that far, it's still not locking. Somebody could come in from the other side with a credit card. If you didn't have a lock at the bottom, let's say, and you only had a deadbolt up here. Lots of houses nowadays has a passage handle at the bottom and a deadbolt at the top. They don't have a lock and a lock, okay? And if you thought this was locked, and you're like that, I can get out there with a credit card on the other side, open this door right up in 5 seconds, pretty much, because all I have to do is grab it and push it back. Do you see what I mean? Or a putty knife, or a sharp edge of a knife, pocket knife or something, and you just grab it on here and you pull it and you pull it and you pull it, and pretty soon you got it open. Okay, but see, I've got it. It clicked right there. That's what I was checking earlier, because I wanted to make sure that now that I've adjusted this closer, I wanted to make sure there wasn't any wood in the way on the back side of where the deadbolt goes. And it's not, and I can hear it click. See, I click it, then I know it's locked all the way. And I even checked the other door going out into the other garage, same thing. I had to end up fixing both of those. Okay, now it's exactly where it needs to be, no squeaks or anything, because this deadbolt is not rubbing on the side of there. I actually have the door pushed in closer, so because it's winter, I'm not going to get as much air coming in around the door, being that it's an 8-foot tall door. You want to make sure you keep the air out, okay? And that's why you want to keep that pushed up. Now see, there's still a little give, and the reason why there's give is because you've got that weather stripping on there. And when, like I say, and this weather stripping is kind of pushed down after years and years. This pushes in because the new stuff sticks out about like that, and then you push it in and it pushes right up tight to the door. Well, this stuff is 18 years old, a little more than 18 years old now. And it's kind of pushed in and more flexible than the new stuff, okay? In fact, I have one piece. Remember I told you I had enough for the top, and here it is. And I'll just show this to you. And you can get this stuff at the hardware store, and you get it like an 8-foot lengths or something like that. You see how it looks? See how far it's sticking out? This little section here fits in a groove in the door jamb, okay? So when that pushes into there, see how much further it's going to be sticking out than the other? See? It's sticking out another 3/16 of an inch, isn't it? Because I know I can only push it in that far into that groove. You see what I mean? There. And then this flexes. So when the door closes, when this is in, the door's going to hit up against there and it's going to flex in. It's still flexing to a certain extent there, but it's going to be that much better with this brand new stuff in there, okay? And this stuff, you know, when I get ready to replace this, I'll make a video of it. In fact, I believe I've got a video on my channel now of how to remove door weather stripping and how to install door weather stripping. I mean, years ago, they didn't have stuff like this. This is really slick. You had to screw it on the outside, remember? You had to screw it on the face of the door jamb, drill it, screws, boom, 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 boom. And then you had to adjust it and push it up tight to the door and make sure it was adjusted ever so properly. But this stuff works way better. This is really the best way. And generally on exterior doors nowadays, they will have a groove right on the side there, and that's where this weather stripping goes. And speaking of this weather stripping, they have it in different colors. Went to the store, and I'm going to be replacing some on a white door jamb, and it just so happened to have white weather stripping. See here? Here it is. And believe it or not, they had, oh man, I think they had 3 different colors of white. They had an off-white, and they had a bright white, and they had a platinum white, and then they had the one I did was this one here is kind of bronzy. See, it's almost a dark chocolatey color, and I think some places might even have black. You'd have to look at that. You could probably order it, and then see this color. This is kind of an off-white. It's kind of a beige. They've got that too, depending where you go. Some hardware stores, they only have the chocolate brown one. Okay, so you've got to look for that. Okay, so there you go. I've got that all fixed. This still fits where it's supposed to. I'm going to leave that alone. And the only last thing I'm going to do is clean up. Hey, always clean up at the end of the job. I'll get the vacuum out and get all this and get that, and vacuum up on the stairs and all that before I call it good. Your job is never done until you clean up. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. I never know what I'm gonna show next, so you might want to just stick around and see. It might save you some money around the house.